I'm about to show you guys how to get a perfect seam on your crochet beanies. This is what the seam looks like. As you can see, you really can't tell that it's a seam there. So I'm going to be showing you guys how I got this. You're going to start with your piece of work. So this is after I just did my spooky beanie. So I'm just taking the ends and folding them together. Now, because I did a chain stitch to start my row, I only have like one loop on the left side, but I'm going to be going into the outer right loop on the right side and one of the left loops on the left side. Another tip is that I make sure that I end at the bottom of what I want my work to be so that when I stitch it up, it's easy to close it at the top. To begin, you are going to start with a slip stitch into the left side before you begin. I'm just turning it right side, and I'm going to begin lifting up that one loop that's on my left side and the outer loop that's on the right side. You're just going to slip stitch into those two loops every single time. Now, if you did do a regular chain to start your project, you would just only slip stitch into those outer loops only. So you're going to pick up the loop on the left side, and then you're going to pick up the loop on the outer right side, and you're going to slip stitch into those stitches only. So I did have a slight increase on my beanie, but don't fret. The only thing you have to do is just slip stitch into all of the stitches that you want to combine to make them even. Once you get to the end, you're going to chain one, and you're going to leave a long tail long enough for you to be able to close your beanie cap. And you're just going to pull your yarn. You can use your crochet hook, but you're going to pull it through that chain one that you just created, and that's going to really seam in your bind. Now we're about to sew the top of the beanie to create our beanie look. I am using a sewing needle for this, a crochet sewing needle at that, because you got to make sure it's thick enough so that the yarn goes through. And this is just a little trick that I learned along the way. Is folding the yarn and then trying to put it through the needle. And once you have that through, I do like to double knot it, because if you only do one knot, like, the yarn could just come out and you're going to have to go through the excruciating process of trying to put the yarn through the needle again. So I double knot it just to make sure that it doesn't come off and that I can just sew this project without a problem. Now we're just going to go through the top loops only. And this is how you're going to make sure that that gap closes really tightly. So you're going to go into the top loop of every single stitch. So I use this in and out technique. And I want to say I try to get at least like 5 to 7 loops each time before I pull the needle through all of those loops, just to make sure that I don't have any holes or gaps, or it's not hard to pull. Once you get to the end, now you can go ahead and scrunch up your beanie before this, but I just did it for the video so y'all can see how the actual beanie closes once you have every single loop under your needle. As you can see, it is very close, but we're not done yet. We're going to take that same needle and we're just going to create knots at the top, connecting the sides, the front, the back. Make sure that this hole is like extremely tight. So I do go up under those loops that I created and just create knots within it. So I'll take the needle, I'll put it through the loops to close it, and then I'll create a knot with the yarn. And I do this a few times just to make sure that that hole is just super secure at the top. So now I am just hiding the tail, and I should have got a smaller crochet hook. If you have a smaller crochet hook, it'll make this so much easier. I don't know why I was doing this, but I do create chains and knots like at the top to make sure that it never comes loose. So I do this a couple times, and then at the end I crochet the tail into my chains that I already have, and I cut it off. And that is all she wrote. So now you can flip your beanie inside out, because remember, this is the side that you're not going to be showing on the outside. This is how I hide my tail, because I did have a tail at the bottom. So this is how I am going to hide that tail within the stitches. Here is the seam that we closed earlier. And this is it, you guys. I hope this helped. Any comments, suggestions, please leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. But yeah, if you want the pattern to the spooky beanie, they are going to be available. Link below in the description.